Hey everybody, welcome to Morning Glory Farmstead. My name is Lolly and this channel is all about gardening, animals, and nature. For those of y'all that have watched some of my videos, you may remember this field was nothing but red clay a few weeks ago and the tractor was out there working on it, and now look at all of this green. This is my little bantam chicken. I named her Pigeon, and we have the best relationship. She has the greatest personality. This footage is not the greatest, but I was just going to show you how the deer come up in my backyard. Used to be huge herds. Now there's so much hunting. I'm lucky if I see one or two, but if y'all look closely, right to the right of this deer, there's a big buck in the background starting to walk up. And when I was out there, it almost looked like an optical illusion. It didn't look real. He was blending in with the trees while he was walking up there, but then he came out in the field and he was absolutely gorgeous. The Greenstock vertical bird feeder is still all go, and I'll tell y'all, when it is drab outside and cold and nasty, this feeder sure brings a lot of color and joy to each day. So today is actually going to be a hodgepodge of several days worth of video clippings that I'm putting together just so you can see some of the things that I feed the chickens. The weather has been very rainy, cold, and dreary. Today is the first time I've seen sunlight in days. I'm going to share with you how I feed my chickens throughout the winter and the cold months, and then also some of the things that I feed them besides their layer pellet diet. Now, this is certainly not an all-inclusive list. These are just some of the things to give you some ideas of what you can feed your chickens during the winter. The reason I had to break this up into separate days is because I never feed all of these treats and all these different foods to the chickens in one day, because I want the majority of their feed to be their layer pellets that they get that has the complete diet. Now, it has been below freezing, and so when they come out of their coops, they are ready for some water and some food and to get that energy burning inside again. And so the very first thing that I give them in the morning is their regular organic layer pellet store-bought food. And the reason I do that is because I don't want them to fill up on all their snacks and treats without getting the nutrients that I know they need to be healthy. Now, some of the chickens like to stay in the walk-in run in the mornings, but some of them, they don't want to go inside that run no matter what is going on outside. It could be 20 degrees and totally muddy or icy, and some of them still want to be outside. So, not only do I make sure they have plenty of food inside the run, I throw their food all over the chicken area in the morning so that no matter what part they're in, they have access to chicken food on the ground. Now, a couple hours later, I go back and I start throwing them some corn when it's really cold, but you definitely don't want them just filling up on corn because there's not as much nutritional value in that. Now, later on throughout the day, I give them a few organic treats like spinach or a ton of greens that have been growing on the green stalk. I just take all the greens and I cut them up. And the reason I do that is because even if those chickens can eat those greens whole, you might actually give them some issues with blockage in their intestines. Y'all, they're really not that big. So it's nice if you have large blades of grass or greens or things that you're giving your chickens that you actually cut it up into smaller pieces. I keep moving around out here because it's so windy. Hopefully y'all can still hear me. Now, if I'm not giving them greens or something like that right now in the winter, I give them organic blueberries, and they love those. Those are a great size. I don't have to do anything to them, like cutting them up or anything. If they're a little bit bigger, they just kind of peck at them, but those are fantastic, and almost all of my chickens will eat them. You guys, it's funny how some chickens do have certain tastes for certain things. They don't all like the same treats. Now, another thing that I feed my chickens is eggs on a regular basis. I'm either giving them scrambled eggs or boiled eggs, and I also give them the shell, and they love it. So here's an example. It's got the broken shell, it's got scrambled eggs, and I've also got some cracked corn down in there. They're all coming over and starting to congregate because they see me getting ready to feed them. Runner's coming over to check things out. Here comes Ruboss coming over to let the girls know there's something good to eat. When it comes to eating, they are gentlemen. About 95% of the time, they let the girls eat, then they come back later if there's anything left. Now, not everybody breaks up the shell for their chickens, but I usually do. I try to make the sizes a little bit smaller, and a lot of times if I'm scrambling the eggs, I just break up the shell and put it in the scrambled eggs, and they love it. They don't become raw egg eaters even if you give them the shells. And I know that some people give them the shells whole and they still don't start eating their eggs. They don't associate it with the eggs that they're laying. So you don't have to worry about that for the most part. But I still break it up just to make it easier on their intestines. Another thing that I give my chickens all year long is grit or oyster shells. And I do that because they can't chew, so they need something to help break down their food. And so if they've got access to rocks and pebbles and little things like that, they may pick those up off the ground. But after a while, they may not have as many, especially if you're in an area like me where it's just that clay and red dirt. And so giving that oyster shell really helps them be able to break down that food that I'm giving them throughout the day. Another thing that's great for chickens to have is rice. Now, I did give them white rice for the first time just this past week. I don't ever do that, but I had it for something special that I was making. Usually it's brown rice because anything that is less processed is better for the chickens. Now, some of the reasons I give them the foods I do is because of the nutritional value. Y'all, it's no different than for some of us. Now, not for every food. Obviously, there's some things they can't have. But like blueberries, they're super healthy, great for the immune system. All the greens they get, great for the immune system, helps with the digestive tract and things like that. You know, eggs are a great source of protein, which chickens need. The eggshells have calciums, but I do stay away from all of the things that chickens are not supposed to have. And I'm not going to try to give you a list right now because there are some different beliefs out there as far as what chickens can eat and what chickens can't eat. But in general, I usually only give them organic foods. I don't give them any sugary sweets. I know some people will throw anything and everything to their chickens. Now, at the end of the day, when it starts getting a little bit dusky looking, I go ahead and give them some sunflower seeds without the shell and some corn to help them stay warm throughout the night. Y'all, every time I come out of the house and even walk by, they run up to see what I have. They are smart and they're very appreciative of all the treats that they get. Well, thanks for joining me for today's video. I hope you got a few tips out of this on some things that you can feed your chickens during the winter. I'll see you real soon in the next video. Until then, y'all have a great couple of days. Bye-bye.